Wishing to create an unforgettable birthday surprise for her husband, Anna turned to the city's finest pastry artist. She never imagined that the name Paul would already appear on another order with the same baker, her own husband. And the inscription on the cake, meant as a romantic flourish, would become a shocking revelation of years of deceit. Morning twilight was just beginning to fade when Anna awoke to the sound of the front door closing. Her husband had left again without saying goodbye. She reached across the cold, empty half of the bed and let out a heavy sigh. A year ago, Paul would never have departed without at least a kiss. Now they seemed to live in parallel worlds. Anna threw back the covers and sat up, smoothing the nightgown she wore. Paul's 40th birthday was a week away, and she had decided that this milestone must mark a fresh start for both of them. Perhaps a celebration would restore what was slipping through her fingers. She made her way to the kitchen, turned on the kettle, and retrieved her planner. Every detail of the party was already mapped out, everything except the cake. She wanted something extraordinary, not the same old sweets from the nearest shop. A month earlier she'd booked a consultation with Daria Sokolova, the pastry chef whose creations were more art than dessert. The warmth of the teacup seeped into her hands. Staring out the window at the gray April sky, Anna reflected on how their lives had changed over the past year. Paul, a gifted surgeon at the city clinic, had always been a workaholic, but he used to make time for her. Lightly, he cited long operations, conferences, endless meetings, and he had even stopped sharing the details of his day. Whenever she tried to broach the painful subjects, his growing distance, or their repeated attempts to have a child, he became short-tempered. Glancing at the clock, Anna realized she had 2 hours before her appointment. She dressed quickly and slipped into her favorite burgundy dress, the very one she'd worn when they first met. It still fit perfectly. She paused in front of the mirror, examining the smile lines that had begun to form around her eyes. At 36 she was still beautiful, but the past year had etched a wariness into her face that no amount of makeup could conceal. Daria's pastry studio lay in a quiet side street downtown. Voice synthesis performed by Yandex SpeechKit. Its display window sparkled with elegant cakes, petits fours, and bonbons. A bell tinkled as Anna pushed open the door, and the rich scents of vanilla chocolate and fresh pastry enveloped her. "Good afternoon, how can I help you?" asked a young woman behind the counter. "Hello," Anna replied, "I have an 11 o'clock appointment with Daria Sokolov. You must be expecting me." She was shown into the bright studio at the back of the shop. At a small table sat a woman of about 40, her red hair neatly pinned into a chignon. "Hello, I'm Daria," she greeted Anna with a warm smile as she stood. "Please have a seat and tell me what you envision for the cake." Anna sank into the chair and opened her folder. "It's for my husband's 40th birthday. He's a surgeon at the Central Clinic. I want something special, perhaps a medical theme, but elegant." "I understand," Daria said, jotting notes in her pad. "What flavors does he prefer?" "He loves chocolate, pistachio, and coffee desserts," Anna explained. Daria's eyes lit up. "Wonderful combination. I have several ideas: a multi-tiered cake adorned with handcrafted medical motifs, marzipan, stethoscopes, miniature surgical tools." As Daria tapped through her digital portfolio, Anna admired the studio's decor. Photographs of astonishing confections lined the walls. One in particular caught her eye, a refined 3-tiered cake topped with porcelain-like figures in white coats. "I see that one has caught your attention," Daria observed. "That was a recent commission, also medical-themed. Quite the coincidence. May I show you a closer view?" "Of course." Daria swiped to another image and turned the tablet toward Anna. It was ordered by an anesthesiologist for her surgeon Fiank, a romantic surprise. Anna nodded, captivated by the artistry and unaware of the far more personal twist fate had in store for her own celebration. Anna froze when she saw the inscription on the cake: "To Paul with love, from Mary." The figures on top depicted a man and a woman in medical coats holding hands. "You said this was a recent commission?" Anna asked, keeping her voice steady. Yes, about a month ago. It was a touching moment. She planned to confess her feelings, Daria replied. The client's name was Mary, a young anesthesiologist who had recently transferred to Paul's clinic. Daria fell silent as she watched Anna's face change. Excuse me, are you all right? Anna took a deep breath. Yes, of course it's just such a coincidence. My husband's also Paul, and he's a surgeon at the central clinic. Now Daria turned pale. Oh my, how thoughtless of me. It's such a common name and there are many surgeons there. It must be a coincidence. Anna forced a small smile, though inside she felt shattered. Of course, just a coincidence. After all, there are many Pauls. They spent the remaining time discussing the details of Anna's own cake order, but she felt detached, as if watching from afar. She nodded and agreed mechanically to Daria's suggestions, while her mind replayed the image of that inscription and the two white-coated figurines. When she left the patisserie, Anna sat down on the nearest bench. Her hands were trembling. Memories surfaced unbidden, Paul staying late at the hospital more and more often, his phone going unanswered when she called, the faint scent of a stranger's perfume on his clothes. When she left the patisserie, Anna sat down on the nearest bench. Her hands were trembling. Memories surfaced unbidden, Paul staying late at the hospital more and more often, his phone going unanswered when she called, the faint scent of a stranger's perfume on his clothes. Anna took out her phone and opened the Central Clinic's website. She had never cared about her husband's colleagues before, trusting him completely, but now she scanned the list of anesthesiologists. There she was, Mary Leonidovna Vorontsova, a young woman with long, light hair and a captivating smile. Her brief biography noted she had just transferred from the regional hospital. Anna sat on the bench a while longer, oblivious to the light rain that began to fall. Then she rose slowly and headed for the bus stop. At home it was empty and quiet. She went into the bedroom and opened Paul's closet. His neatly hung shirts still smelled of his familiar cologne. She ran her hand across the row of shirts, then knelt and pulled out the bottom drawer. Paul kept documents and personal items there. Rifling through the papers, Anna found a strange stack of receipts. Beluga restaurant, one of the city's most expensive, dated 2 weeks ago, the very day Paul claimed he was at a conference in another town. Deeper in the drawer she discovered a key with a seashell keychain. She had never seen it before, certainly not for their apartment or the country house they'd bought last year, where they had planned to spend summers with children. On Paul's bedside table lay his old daily planner. Anna rarely looked at it, respecting her husband's privacy. Now she opened it without hesitation and flipped through the pages. Most entries were work-related, but a few lines caught her eye. The 19-0 Sharp restaurant. And meeting at Realtors. Anna snapped the planner shut and went to the window. Rain blurred the street into a gray wash like her life, which had seemed clear this morning, but was now shattered into fragments. She dialed her husband's number. After several rings, his voicemail picked up. Paul, this is you-know-who. His voice sounded remarkably calm. Just wanted to know when you will be home tonight. I've ordered your birthday cake, I think you will like it. Anna hung up and sat for a long time on the edge of the bed, staring at their wedding photo. It had been taken 12 years ago, young, happy, in love. Where and when had it all gone wrong? Her phone rang, startling her. It wasn't Paul, but her friend Erin. Annie, hi. How is the birthday prep going? Anna hesitated, unsure whether to share her suspicions. Erin, you also work at the Central Clinic, right? Do you know the anesthesiologist Mary Vorontsova? There was a pause on the other end. Yes, I know her. Why do you ask? Anna took a deep breath. She'd mentioned Paul once, Anna whispered. There was a long silence. Annie, what's going on? Have you discovered something? Please just tell me, Erin pressed. I'm not close to her, Anna replied, closing her eyes. But in the staff lounge there are rumors she's having an affair with one of the senior doctors no one names names. Anna took a deep breath. Thanks, Irene. I have to go. I'm worried about you. Do you want me to come over? No, I'm really okay. Just swamped with party preparations. Anna hung up and walked to the window. Dusk was falling and the rain had grown heavier. Suddenly she felt a strange relief. Uncertainty is always worse than even the bitterest truth. Now that she had her suspicions, she could act. She returned to her dressing table and studied her reflection. The confusion was gone from her eyes, replaced by quiet determination. She applied her makeup meticulously, styled her hair, and slipped into an elegant dress. That evening, when Paul came home, he was greeted by the perfect wife wearing an impeccable smile. "Dinner's ready, darling. How was your day?" Anna asked sweetly. Paul raised an eyebrow. "Same as always, lots of surgeries. And why are you all dressed up?" Anna's smile widened. "I just wanted to make you happy. Oh, and I ordered your birthday cake. I think you will love it." She watched him closely, but Paul simply nodded and headed to the bathroom. Left alone in the kitchen, Anna gripped a glass of wine. She already knew what she would do next. Paul wanted a surprise for his birthday. He was about to get one. The next morning, Anna called Irene and arranged to meet at a small cafe near the clinic. The two had been friends since their student days and always supported each other through hard times. Irene arrived right at lunch break, petite and energetic in her blue scrubs with a light jacket thrown over her shoulders. "You look terrible," Irene said bluntly as she sat down and ordered tea. "I need your help." Anna leaned forward, lowering her voice. "About what I asked you yesterday, Mary and Paul. I'm almost certain there's something between them." Irene stirred her tea thoughtfully. "Why'd you think that?" Anna recounted the patisserie incident, the restaurant receipts, and the strange diary entries. "I need to know for sure, Irene. I don't want to look like a paranoid hysteric, but I can't pretend I don't see what's happening." Irene gazed out at the passing pedestrians. "Honestly, I've long noticed they spend a lot of time together. But you know how it is in the clinic, shared operations, case conferences. And what do people say about Marie?" Anna pressed. "She's 29, talented and ambitious," Irene explained. "She transferred here about 6 months ago, and all the department heads are impressed, just like many of the men. I've scrubbed in with her and Paul several times, and I've seen them leave together after shifts." Anna felt a weight in her chest. "Listen, I work in her," Irene continued. "I could pull their schedules if you want." "That's not entirely legal," Anna interrupted. "I appreciate it, but I need solid proof. If there's an affair, it won't just happen at the clinic." "So surveillance?" Irene asked with raised eyebrows. "I'm serious," Anna said. "I hate it, but I have to know the truth." That very evening, Irene brought in their mutual friend Stella, who worked at a private detective agency. "Half my clients are wives checking up on their husbands," Stella said with a wry smile when the three of them gathered in Anna's kitchen. The next 3 days were a nightmare. Anna kept up the act of the attentive wife, cooking dinners, asking about Paul's day, discussing the upcoming anniversary, while Stella followed Paul after work with a small hidden camera. On Friday evening, just as Paul said he would be late at a case conference, Anna's phone buzzed. It was Stella. "Annie," he left the clinic with a young blonde. They were heading to the Admiral residential complex on the waterfront. "Are you sure?" Anna texted back. "Yes. Want the photo?" A minute later, a blurred image appeared of Paul helping a slender blonde out of a car. They went into the lobby. "Looks like it might be her apartment, or one he's taking for her," Stella added. Anna sank onto the sofa. The receipts, the diary entries, and now this luxury building, her doubts had nearly vanished. The next morning, Stella sent another report. Paul didn't leave the Admiral until 7:00 a.m., then caught a taxi home exactly when he claimed to have been performing emergency surgery all night. When Anna and Irene met again at the cafe, Anna asked, "What do you think is really going on between them?" "I'm afraid it's more than just a fling," Irene admitted. "Rumor has it Mary is pregnant, but that's unconfirmed." Anna's face went pale. She and Paul had been trying for a child for years, endless procedures, tests, hopes dashed time and again. And now this young woman might give him what Anna never could. "I need to find out everything," Anna said firmly. "Not just about their affair." That Friday evening, just as Paul told Anna he'd be late at a case conference, her phone buzzed with a message from Stella. He left the clinic with a young blonde. They were heading to the Admiral complex on the waterfront. Anna gripped her phone. "Are you sure?" She texted back. "Yes. Want me to send a photo?" A minute later, a blurry image appeared, Paul helping a slim blonde out of his car. They went into the building, Stella added. "Looks like either she has an apartment there or he's taken one for her." Anna slid down onto the sofa. Receipts, diary entries, now this luxury complex. There was almost no doubt left. The next morning, Stella's second report arrived. Paul didn't emerge from the Admiral until 7:00 am, then took a taxi home precisely the time he claimed he'd been performing an emergency surgery all night. When Anna met Irene for coffee later that day, she asked quietly, "What do you think is really going on between them?" "I'm afraid it's more than just a fling," Irene admitted. "Rumor has it Mary might be pregnant, but that's only talk, nothing confirmed." Anna went pale. For years she and Paul had tried to have a child, endless tests, dashed hopes. And now this young woman could be carrying his child. "I need to know more," Anna said firmly. "Not just about their affair." The next day, using her position as a nurse and her clinic contacts, Anna slipped into the finance office under the pretext of verifying her payroll. When the elderly clerk, Nina Pettersson, stepped out for just 5 minutes, Anna moved quickly to the surgical department's file cabinet. There she found glaring discrepancies. Several of Paul's operations were billed at inflated rates, and patients were charged for expensive imported materials that were never used. She photographed the most damning documents and hurriedly returned the folder before Nina returned. That evening, Anna pored over the photos, attempting to unravel the complex billing schemes. Though no accounting expert, she could clearly see evidence of serious fraud. Her husband was not only betraying her personally but also abusing his position financially. Determined, Anna called their longtime family lawyer, Samuel Valentin, first thing the next morning and arranged a meeting. His office, a grand room with high ceilings and heavy drapes, felt intimidating. Samuel, a silver-haired man in his 60s, listened intently as Anna laid out her findings and reviewed the documents. He frowned gravely. "Anna," he said, "this goes beyond family law. These allegations require a criminal investigation. I handle divorces and asset divisions, but you will need to involve law enforcement for this kind of fraud." Anna hesitated. "I haven't decided about divorce yet," she said. "But I need to protect myself and my assets." Samuel opened his laptop. "Let's review your joint properties, your apartment, your car, and your country house. Do you have the deeds with you?" Anna handed him the folder she'd taken from their home safe. As Samuel studied the papers, his expression grew graver by the minute. "When was the last time you checked the title on your country house?" he asked suddenly. "In what way?" Anna blinked. "We visited a month ago to plan summer renovations," Samuel explained. "But have you looked at the paperwork since then?" "No," Anna admitted. Samuel swiveled the laptop toward her and opened the public land registry. "Your country house changed ownership 2 weeks ago." Anna stared in disbelief. "That must be an error. We never sold the house." "You didn't sell it," Samuel said quietly. "Your husband gifted it to Mary Leonidovna Vorontsov." The room seemed to tilt beneath Anna. She gripped the edge of the desk. "That's impossible. Paul couldn't have done this without my knowledge." "He could," Samuel Valentin interjected. "He holds a power of attorney from you over your joint property." Here it is. He pointed to a document in Anna's folder. You signed this 2 years ago when he was arranging your mortgage and it's still valid. Anna remembered. Yes, I did sign a power of attorney. Paul had explained it would simplify matters with the bank, and she, trusting him completely, had signed without a second thought. So he really could dispose of all our assets. Anna's voice trembled. Under that power of attorney. Yes, Samuel confirmed. And I found something else. He tapped the laptop. A month ago, an appraisal request was filed for your city apartment. That's usually done right before a sale. Anna felt sick. Paul wasn't merely cheating, he'd been methodically preparing to cut her out of everything they'd built together. What should I do? She whispered, clutching Samuel's desk. Immediately revoke the power of attorney, he said. I'll draft the paperwork today. Then file a fraud complaint. You can challenge the gift of your country house because it violates your rights as his spouse. And I recommend you file for divorce to freeze any further transfers of joint assets. Paul mustn't suspect a thing until I'm ready, Anna said, her tone steel cold. I understand. We'll move quietly, but there isn't much time. If he plans to sell the apartment, we need to stop it before he can. When Anna stepped out of the lawyer's office, she trembled with rage, hurt, and fear. 12 years of marriage, endless fertility treatments, unwavering support for his career, and this was the payoff: betrayal, deceit, theft. She sank onto a bench in the nearby park and wept, ignoring curious passersby. Half an hour later, calmer now, Anna wiped her tears and steeled herself. No more crying, it was time to act. She called Irene. Irene, I need Mary's address. And can you find out if she was actually at work on the days the country house deed was signed over? I'll try. But why do you need her address? I need to know exactly who I'm dealing with. That evening, when Paul was again late at the hospital, Anna drove to the Admiral complex. The luxury waterfront development gleamed with its floor-to-ceiling windows, 24/7 concierge, and manicured grounds. Anna parked across the street and watched. A short while later, a taxi pulled up. A young blonde carrying grocery bags stepped out. Mary Vorontsov. Anna recognized her from the clinic website. Staying concealed, she tailed Mary at a safe distance. Mary nodded to the concierge and swiped into the elevator. Excuse me, Anna said to the concierge. I'm looking for my friend Mary in apartment 17. On which floor is that? 5th floor, apartment 17, the man replied automatically, then blinked. And you are but... I'll just call her, Anna smiled and hurried away. Now she had the address and undeniable proof that her husband not only maintained a relationship with this woman but had provided her with a luxury home. She wondered, did Mary know that Anna's country house was now legally hers? Or was Paul planning yet another surprise? 5th floor, apartment 17, the man replied automatically, then blinked. And you are but... I'll just call her, Anna smiled and hurried away. Now she had the address and undeniable proof that her husband not only maintained a relationship with this woman but had provided her with a luxury home. She wondered, did Mary know that Anna's country house was now legally hers? Or was Paul planning yet another surprise? On her way home, Anna stopped at their country house. She stood before it, recalling how she and Paul had chosen this site, dreamed of children running across the lawn, planned a garden and gazebo for family dinners. Now all those dreams belonged to someone else. Her phone pinged. A message from Irene. Mary was officially on sick leave on the days the deed was processed. The diagnosis was acute respiratory illness. Then she must know about the house, Anna realized. This was no impulsive act. Paul and Mary had planned everything together. Back at home, Anna opened a bottle of wine and sat in the dark living room. When the front door clicked and Paul entered, she didn't even turn to face him. What's wrong? Paul asked, noticing her tense expression. Nothing, just tired, Anna replied softly. How was your day? A complex surgery. I'll go take a shower. Anna watched him walk away, her mind racing. The man she'd shared a life with for so many years was now a stranger, and a dangerous one. She had to protect herself before it was too late. The next morning, Anna went to Daria's patisserie with a plan and a request beyond cake design. "I'm so sorry about that awkward moment yesterday," Daria began when Anna arrived. "If you'd like to cancel your order." "No," Anna said firmly. "I still want the cake. But I have an unusual favor to ask, and I may need more than pastry expertise." "I understand," Daria said, leading Anna to the small back room. "I want to help however I can. Actually, I have a brother." Daria hesitated. "He might be useful in your situation." Anna looked at her questioningly. "Konstantin," Daria continued, "he's a former military officer, now a private investigator. He specializes in marital infidelity and property fraud." "I already have a friend doing surveillance," Anna began uncertainly. "Konstantin is a professional," Daria said. "He knows how to gather evidence that holds up in court. Why not talk to him? No obligation." The next day, Anna found herself in a modest office on the ground floor of an old downtown building. A sign on the door read, "Sokol of Private Investigations." Konstantin stood to greet her, tall, about 40, with a keen gaze and streaks of premature gray at his temples. His posture still bore a hint of military bearing. "Daria told me about your situation," he said as he offered her a seat. "But I'd like to hear the details from you." Anna recounted everything: Mary's cake for Paul, the stolen moments she'd witnessed, the doctored clinic bills, and the deed of the country house. Konstantin listened quietly, jotting notes now and then. When she finished, he tapped his pen thoughtfully. "Your case is complicated but not hopeless. You already have proof of infidelity, which is a start. To safeguard your property rights and potentially hold your husband accountable for the financial fraud, we need a stronger evidentiary basis." "What do you suggest?" Anna asked. "A comprehensive investigation," Konstantin replied. "We'll trace every financial transaction Paul has made this past year, establish his connection to Mary Vorontsova, and compile legally admissible proof of his professional misconduct." Anna hesitated. Konstantin softened his tone. "I understand this is hard. Do you still hope you were wrong?" "No," Anna said firmly. "There's no hope left. Sometimes you have to take a step back to move forward," he said. "If you like, I can start by verifying the legal status of your country house and your options to reclaim it." Anna nodded. "That sounds good. Where do we begin?" Over the following days, Konstantin moved swiftly. He obtained registry extracts confirming that the country house now belonged to Mary Vorontsova. He also reviewed Anna and Paul's other properties and discovered Paul had withdrawn a large sum from their joint account, money earmarked for renovating their city apartment. "Your husband plans to fully furnish a new home with this woman," Konstantin reported at their next meeting. "And on your joint funds." Anna managed a bitter laugh at his prudence. "What about the clinic?" "That's more serious," Konstantin said. "I've spoken with contacts in law enforcement. If the discrepancies you found in the hospital accounts are verified, Paul could face major fraud charges. Not just a divorce, but criminal charges." Anna's voice shook. "Potentially," he nodded. "But we need rock-solid proof." That evening, Konstantin outlined their next move. Anna, leveraging her position as a nurse, would access patient records for the surgeries Paul performed. Konstantin, using his own channels, would verify whether the materials and equipment charged on the bills matched what was actually used. "That's risky," he warned. "If you were caught viewing files you were not authorized to see, you could face serious trouble." "I'm ready to take that risk," Anna said steadily. "But under one condition: if we uncover proof of fraud, I want to use it to reclaim my property before anything goes to the authorities." "Blackmail?" Konstantin raised an eyebrow. "Justice," Anna countered. "I don't want to harm him more than necessary, I just want what's rightfully mine." Constantine studied her for a moment, then nodded. Understood. Let's proceed. And together they set their plan into motion. The next day, the plan was set in motion. Anna leveraged her contacts at the clinic to gain access to the medical records archive. She selected several cases where the billed amounts were conspicuously high and made copies of the files. Meanwhile, Constantine investigated Mary's apartment. Using his network and professional skills, he discovered that the flat had been purchased 6 months earlier, paid for in cash. Where that cash came from is highly suspicious, he reported. That evening they met in a quiet cafe to compare notes. Look at these bills, Anna said, passing him a folder. They list imported surgical supplies, each item priced at around $30, but I know our clinic has never had or even ordered anything like these. We use only domestically produced equivalents. Constantine studied the documents. Impressive. If all this checks out, we're talking serious fraud. And here's what I found on the apartment. He handed her photos of the luxurious interior. Valued at roughly 15 million rubles, paid in cash through a proxy. Guess who that proxy was? Paul. Anna asked. No, it was a certain Igor Kravtsov. Anna frowned. And the best part. Constantine showed her another photograph, a distinguished older man. That's Mary's father. They planned this from the start. This isn't just an affair, it's a full-blown scheme to allow Paul to start a new life, cutting ties with his past with you. Anna was silent, battling a fresh surge of pain and anger. Are you all right? Constantine asked softly. No, Anna admitted. But I'll manage. He covered her hand with his. You will. You are stronger than you think. In that simple gesture, she felt the protective wall she'd built around herself crack. Tears she'd held back for days finally spilled over. I'm sorry, she whispered, dabbing at her eyes. Don't apologize, Constantine said gently. You have every right to feel hurt. Betrayal by someone close is trauma. His tone carried the weight of personal experience. Did that happen to you too? Anna asked tentatively. Yes, he replied shortly. My wife left me for another man when I was deployed overseas and took our daughter. He paused, but it had been years ago. How did you cope? Anna asked. Work and time, he said with a faint smile. You know what's strange? I ended up grateful for it. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be who I am today. Anna wondered if she could ever feel gratitude toward Paul for this nightmare. In the days that followed, they continued to gather proof. Constantine traced Paul's inflated surgical charges through shell companies and linked that illicit income to the purchase of Mary's flat. That's a classic fraud model, he explained. The hospital buys supplies at one price, bills patients at a much higher rate, and pocket the difference. Either the clinic's leadership is blissfully unaware or complicit. We'll find out which. One evening after work, Constantine invited Anna to dinner at a small restaurant near his office. We need to discuss our next steps, he said. And you need a break, you look exhausted. Over dinner they spoke not only of the case. Constantine shared stories of his military service, why he became a detective, and his love of jazz and classic film. Anna talked about her work at the clinic and how she'd long dreamed of transferring to pediatrics, but had put it off for Paul's career. Why not do it now? Constantine asked after she'd told him. Maybe I will, Anna said thoughtfully. Strangely, these past few days, I've started thinking about my future, my own future without Paul. And it doesn't seem so frightening anymore. That's a good sign, Constantine said with a warm smile. It means you're beginning to heal. When he walked her to a waiting taxi, Anna realized she'd felt truly heard for the first time in months. Constantine wasn't just doing his job, he was listening, understanding, supporting. With him, she could drop her facade and let her guard down. Thank you, she said as the taxi pulled up. For what? Constantine asked gently. For everything, Anna replied. "Don't thank me yet," he said with a knowing nod. "We are not finished." And in that moment, Anna felt ready for whatever came next. Anna's instructions were unmistakable. This would be the final act of their long-planned operation. 3 days before Paul's birthday, she gathered a small command center in her living room. Konstantin, Daria, Irene, and Stella around the coffee table, where documents, photos, and the showdown plan lay in meticulous order. "Tomorrow," Anna began, her voice calm and steady, "I'll send invitations to all of Paul's family, friends, and colleagues. The clinic's leadership will receive theirs separately. I'll tell everyone it's a surprise party for him." Irene glanced at her nervously. "And Mary?" she asked. Anna met her gaze with quiet conviction. "Absolutely. She'll receive a special invite, apparently from Paul himself, asking her to join and surprise him." Stella's already forged Paul's handwriting. Konstantin watched Anna carefully. The uncertainty he'd seen weeks ago was gone, replaced by iron resolve. When the others turned to discuss logistics, he leaned forward. "Aren't you afraid?" he whispered. "I am," Anna admitted, "but not afraid of losing him anymore." Daria then unfurled her final cake sketch. "On the outside," she explained, "it's an elegant 3-tier medical motif cake, just like Paul ordered. But the topper is special." The drawing revealed 3 stylized figures, a central male surgeon, flanked by 2 women, with the inscription, "Congratulations on your double life." "Think he'll get it right away?" Stella asked. Anna smiled. "Not at first. He'll see a beautiful cake, congratulate himself on my thoughtfulness. The real shock comes when I lift the top decorative dome and everyone sees what's underneath." Irene shuddered at the thought. "It'll be a scandal." Anna nodded. "And he deserves it. No melodrama, just the unvarnished truth." In the days that followed, preparations raced forward. Anna reserved the Beluga restaurant, the same place where Paul had met Mary in secret. Invitations went out to Paul's parents, his university friends, and every clinic colleague Anna could name. A special note was delivered to clinic director Dur Michaels and his co, reminding them, "It's a surprise for Paul, he'll be delighted to see you there." Finally, Mary received her careered invitation, a sleek envelope containing a note in Fox Paul's hand, urging her to attend and make his birthday unforgettable. As Anna sealed that last envelope, she felt a tremor of anticipation and relief. Tomorrow, the truth would have its stage. "Dear, come to my official birthday party. I want you to be there, even if just as a colleague for now. This will be the first step toward our shared future. Just don't call me, it's a surprise for everyone." On the evening before the celebration, Anna tried on her new dress, an elegant, deep blue one that highlighted her figure. She stood before the mirror for a long time, examining herself. There was no more sorrow or weariness in her eyes, only determination and a new, unfamiliar sparkle. The phone rang. It was Konstantin. "Everything's ready," he reported. Daria finished the cake. "The documents are gathered and organized. I made several copies for the clinic's management." "Thank you," Anna said sincerely. "I don't know what I would have done without you. Without all of you. You would be managed," Konstantin replied with confidence. "But I'm glad I was there." There was something in his voice that made Anna's heart suddenly beat faster. The morning of the birthday arrived. Pavel was in a good mood. Anna pretended they were preparing a small family dinner, and he had no idea about the true scale of the upcoming event. "How many guests do you think will be there?" he asked casually over breakfast. "Just a few," Anna replied evasively. "Only the closest ones. I hope you didn't invite my parents. My father hasn't been well lately. It's hard for him to leave the house." Anna smiled. "Trust me. It's going to be a special evening." Pavel kissed her on the cheek and left for the clinic. He had a scheduled surgery planned for his birthday. Anna watched him go, then set about the final preparations. By 6:00 p.m., everything was ready. The private hall of the Beluga restaurant was decorated in a restrained, elegant style. White tablecloths, crystal glasses, silverware. At the entrance stood a display with photos of Pavel from childhood, university years, their wedding, and the award ceremony for his professional achievements. Anna welcomed the guests with a flawless smile. Pavel's parents were among the first to arrive. Despite his health problems, his father couldn't miss his son's jubilee. "You look wonderful, dear," said Pavel's mother, hugging Anna. "And you organized everything so beautifully. Pavel will be thrilled." "I hope so," Anna smiled. The hall gradually filled with guests. University friends, colleagues from the clinic, neighbors. To Anna's great satisfaction, the head doctor and his deputy arrived as well. "Pavel Arkadievich, thank you for coming," Anna greeted him warmly. "Pavel will be very touched. I couldn't miss the 40th birthday of our leading surgeon," the head doctor smiled. "Besides such a mystery, he doesn't even know about the party." "A complete surprise," Anna confirmed. She kept glancing at the entrance. Somewhere deep inside, she still hoped Marina wouldn't come, that it had all been a terrible mistake, that her husband hadn't betrayed her so cynically. But precisely at 7:30, half an hour before Pavel was to arrive, a slender blonde in a tight red dress walked into the hall. Marina Vorontsova looked slightly anxious but determined. She scanned the room, clearly looking for someone. Anna approached her. "Good evening. You must be Marina." "I'm Anna, Pavel's wife." Marina turned pale. "I thought the invitation was from Pavel." "I know," Anna interrupted her with icy politeness. "But he didn't send it." "I did." "I don't understand why." "You'll understand soon. For now, take a seat. The most interesting part is about to begin." Marina looked confused, but it was too late to leave. There were too many people around. She awkwardly made her way into the hall and sat at one of the tables in the back. At exactly 8:00 p.m., the lights in the hall went out. Anna took the microphone. "Dear friends, the guest of honor is about to arrive. Everyone, please get ready for a surprise," Anna announced. A minute later, Pavel entered the hall. When the lights came on and the applause broke out, his face showed genuine astonishment. He smiled awkwardly, accepting congratulations, hugging his parents, shaking hands with friends. "Anna, this is amazing," he said, embracing his wife. "I didn't expect anything like this." "I did my best," she smiled. "It's a special day." The evening went on. Toasts were made, music played. Pavel seemed genuinely touched and happy. Only now and then did his eyes anxiously drift toward Marina, who sat quietly in the far corner of the hall. At one point, Anna noticed him quietly slip out of the room. A minute later, Marina excused herself, saying she needed to check something in the kitchen. Anna gave a subtle signal to Konstantin, and as planned, he followed them with a small camera. 5 minutes later, it was time for the evening's climax. Anna took the microphone again. "And now, dear guests, a special moment. The birthday cake for our celebrant." A large cart was rolled into the hall carrying a magnificent 3-tiered cake. On top was a decorative lid bearing a medical symbol. Pavel, having just returned to the hall, approached the cake with a delighted smile. "Anna, this is incredible." "Look closer," she said, and lifted the lid. At the top of the cake were 3 figurines, a man in a doctor's coat standing between 2 women. And an inscription, "Congratulations on your double life." A heavy silence fell over the hall. Pavel turned pale. What does this mean?" "I think you know perfectly well," Anna answered calmly. "But if not, I can explain. Not only about your personal life, but your professional one too." She turned to the chief doctor. "Pavel Arkadievich, you might find this interesting as well." She nodded to Konstantin, and he turned on the projector. On the large screen appeared registry extracts, showing the transfer of ownership of a country house to Marina Vorontsova. Then, documents detailing financial misconduct at the clinic. "What is this circus?" Pavel shouted, trying to maintain composure. Anna, have you lost your mind? No, dear, she replied evenly. I've just opened my eyes. And here's the proof. She nodded again to Konstantin, and he played the footage recorded just minutes earlier. Pavel and Marina in the restaurant hallway. Embracing, kissing. Does this explain why our country house is now in your mistress's name? Anna asked loudly. Or why you were planning to sell our apartment? The hall filled with murmurs. Marina, who had been standing near the back, tried to slip out quietly, but Svetlana blocked her way. Leaving so soon, Marina Leonidovna? Anna called out. Don't you want to know what else Pavel's been doing behind your back? For example, falsifying medical documents and inflating surgery costs. The chief doctor stood up. These are serious accusations, Anna Mikhailovna. Do you have evidence? I do, she nodded and handed him a folder. Everything is here: invoices, statements, copies of patient records. For years, Pavel has been overcharging for operations and laundering the difference through shell companies. Mikhail Arkadyevich flipped through the documents. His face darkened. Pavel Anatolievich, is this true? This is slander. Pavel shouted, but his voice was already faltering. Anna made this all up to get revenge on me. Oh, really? Anna replied coolly. Did I also make up the country house, the property records, and the apartment worth 15 million you bought for your mistress? She turned to Marina. By the way, did you know Pavel used my power of attorney to transfer the country house to your name? The very house we bought while dreaming of children. Her voice cracked slightly. I spent 10 years trying to get pregnant. Endured hellish procedures. And all that time, my husband was building a new life with you. She took a breath, then smiled. But you know what's most interesting? I'm grateful to you. You set me free. Now I finally know who Pavel Anatolievich really is, our esteemed surgeon. The hall was deathly silent. Pavel looked like a man laid out on an operating table, conscious, but with no way to escape. I'm filing for divorce, Anna continued, and reclaiming the country house. Legally, it's quite feasible, considering how it was transferred. She turned to the chief physician. As for Pavel's professional misconduct, that's your decision, Mikhail Arkadyevich. I've done my duty by reporting the fraud. The chief physician nodded. We'll conduct an internal investigation. And if the facts are confirmed, we'll have to contact the authorities. Pavel rushed toward Anna. You can't do this. You will destroy my career. You destroyed it yourself, Anna replied calmly. With your choices, your actions, I just showed the truth. She looked around at the now silent hall. I apologize to all the guests for such an unexpected turn of events. Especially to Pavel's parents. You are not to blame, and I'm truly sorry you had to witness this. Pavel's mother was crying. His father looked devastated. Friends and colleagues whispered quietly, casting disapproving glances at Pavel. Marina, taking advantage of the commotion, slipped out. Pavel noticed and tried to follow her, but Konstantin blocked his path. I wouldn't advise it. Stay and face the problems you created. Anna turned to the guests again. Once more, I apologize. You are welcome to stay and continue. Pavel's mother was crying. His father looked devastated. Friends and colleagues whispered quietly, casting disapproving glances at Pavel. Marina, taking advantage of the commotion, slipped out. Pavel noticed and tried to follow her, but Konstantin blocked his path. I wouldn't advise it. Stay and face the problems you created. Anna turned to the guests again. Once more, I apologize. You are welcome to stay and continue the evening or leave, I'll understand either. Anna turned to the guests again. Once more, I apologize. You are welcome to stay and continue the evening or leave, I'll understand either choice. But I wanted everyone to know the truth. To her surprise, most guests stayed. The chief physician spent a long time speaking with Konstantin and reviewing documents. Pavel sat alone in a corner, drained and confused. No one approached him. Anna felt a strange lightness, as if a heavy weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She noticed Pavel's parents were getting ready to leave and approached them. "Viktor Stepanovich, Tatiana Andreevna, I just wanted to say I never wished you any harm. I always considered you family." Pavel's father looked at her sternly. "So you made your choice, Anna? I don't approve of public confrontations like this, but if what you showed is true, then I can blame you. It turns out our son is not the man we thought we raised." Pavel's mother forced a weak smile. "Take care of yourself, dear. And forgive us for our son." They left, and tears welled up in Anna's eyes. Despite everything, she loved these people. Konstantin approached her. "You were holding up well. But maybe it's best if you left too. It's been a tough day." Anna nodded. "Yes, probably. Will you walk me out?" They stepped into the warm May evening. Anna breathed in the fresh air deeply. "It turns out our son is not the man we thought we raised." "How do you feel?" Konstantin asked. "Strange," she admitted. "Empty and free at the same time. Like I opened a door from a dark room and saw sunlight." "It'll pass," he said softly. "And a new life will begin." Anna looked at him with gratitude. "You know, I think it already has." The legal proceedings lasted 3 months. Armed with collected evidence and a skilled lawyer, Anna proved that Pavel had used the power of attorney for personal gain. The court declared the deed to the country house invalid and ordered the property to be returned to its rightful owner. Anna also won a significant compensation, almost half the value of the luxury apartment Pavel had purchased for Marina. Things weren't better for Pavel at the clinic. The internal investigation confirmed the fraud, and he was suspended. A full criminal investigation followed. The reputation of the once brilliant surgeon was beyond repair. For Anna, those months became a time of reflection and healing. She filed for a transfer to a children's hospital on the other side of the city, the place she had always dreamed of working. "Are you sure?" asked Irina when Anna told her the news. "That's quite a drop in salary." "I'm sure," Anna nodded. "You know, all these years I worked at that prestigious clinic for Pavel for his stas. But my real dream was always something else, helping children." At the children's hospital, Anna was warmly welcomed. The work was demanding but deeply fulfilling. Every smile from a little patient, every thank you from grateful parents filled her life with new meaning. Konstantin remained by her side throughout. At first as a friend and support, but gradually something began to change. They often met after work, talked about books, music, and the children Anna worked with. "You know," Konstantin said one evening as they walked along the riverbank, "you've changed. There's this inner light in you now. That's called happiness." Anna smiled. "I'm finally living my own life, not someone else." By the end of summer, Anna moved back into her reclaimed country house. She renovated it completely, erasing the shadows of the past. Now, it was her space. Her sanctuary. In the fall, Konstantin finally confessed his feelings. They sat on the veranda watching the leaves fall. "I know it's still early," he said. "You are still recovering from everything, but I want you to know you mean a lot to me." Anna took his hand. "It's more than friendship for me too, Kostya. But you are right, I need time to understand what I truly want." "I'll wait," he said simply. In the winter, just before New Year's, a 6-year-old boy named Misha was admitted to the children's hospital. His parents had died in a car accident, and no relatives could be found. Anna spent a lot of time with him, reading, playing, talking. A special bond formed between them. "What will happen to him now?" she asked the department head. "An orphanage, most likely," she sighed. "At his age, the chances of adoption are slim." Those words haunted Anna. She couldn't stop thinking about Misha. Slowly a decision took shape inside her. "I want to adopt him," she told Konstantin during one of their walks. "It's crazy, right?" A single woman, recently divorced, working in a children's hospital. Konstantin looked at her closely. It's not crazy. It's exactly like you doing what your heart tells you. And you'll be a wonderful mother. Thank you, Anna said softly. That means a lot. In the spring, nearly a year after the fateful birthday, someone rang the doorbell at Anna's country house. It was Pavel, worn out older but still with traces of his former charm. Anna, can I come in? We need to talk. She silently let him in. They sat in the living room, now entirely different light tones, new furniture, children's toys in the corner. You have a child? Pavel asked in surprise. I adopted a boy from the hospital where I work, Anna replied calmly. Misha's at daycare right now. Pavel was silent, gathering his thoughts. Anna, I came to ask for forgiveness. And maybe a second chance. I've realized a lot this year. Anna, can I come in? We need to talk. She silently let him in. They sat in the living room, now entirely different light tones, new furniture, children's toys in the corner. You have a child? Pavel asked in surprise. I adopted a boy from the hospital where I work, Anna replied calmly. Misha's at daycare right now. Pavel was silent, gathering his thoughts. Anna, I came to ask for forgiveness. And maybe a second chance. I've realized a lot this year. Marina left when things got rough. My career's gone. I'm alone. And I see now how much I lost. Anna looked at him, but there was no anger or pain in her heart, only a calm certainty. You know, Pavel, a year ago, I would have been happy to hear those words. But no, you were not here because you still love me. You were here because you were alone. That's not the same. But we were together 12 years. Doesn't that mean anything? It does, Anna nodded. It means I spent 12 years with someone who didn't respect me enough to share our dream, our home, with another woman behind my back. But I'm grateful. You taught me a lesson. Now I know that real love begins with respect and honesty. Pavel lowered his head. I really did ruin everything. You made your choice, just like I made mine. When he left, Anna felt truly free, as if the last thread tying her to the past had finally snapped. That evening, she told Konstantin about Pavel's visit. And how do you feel about it? He asked gently. That everything is as it should be, Anna replied simply. That I'm where I belong, and with the one I want to be with. She took his hand. Kostya, I don't want to wait any longer. This year has shown me life's too short to postpone happiness. I love you. And I want to be with you. A year later, the country house that once sparked a scandal had become a true family home. Anna and Konstantin quietly got married, without pomp or ceremony. Misha, now officially their son, flourished in the new family. From a withdrawn, quiet child, he turned into a cheerful boy who loved gardening and dreamed of becoming a doctor like his mom. One summer evening, they sat on the veranda. Misha was already asleep, and Anna and Konstantin enjoyed the peace and each other's company. Do you ever think how strangely everything turned out? Anna asked it. If I hadn't gone to Daria to order that cake. Life is full of unexpected turns, Konstantin smiled. But I believe in the end, everything happens as it should. Anna looked at the blooming garden they planted together, at the softly lit windows of the house that had become her heaven, and at their sleeping son upstairs, the one she had dreamed of for so long. You know, she said, leaning against her husband, for the first time in my life I feel like I've truly found my place. And it's beautiful.